There's a heartbeat in the Bahamas that's easy to find. But where can I find the spirit of this Caribbean nation? It's a voyage that'll take me to the very edge of these tropical islands and beyond. Nassau. It's the cultural center of the Bahamas, where music, nightlife, and art live and breathe. While you may find the heartbeat of the Bahamas here, the spirit of the Bahamas lies in the 700 islands and cays that surround Nassau. That's what I'm searching for, and why I'm headed to Eleuthera. I'm Marissa Neff, journalist and world traveler, and I'm chasing the rhythms of Caribbean music and culture. And right now, I'm sitting in a teeny airport waiting for my flight. This is my first clue that time runs a bit slower and everything's a bit more relaxed here in the out islands of the Bahamas. The flights in between these islands are usually small because each island has a population of only a few thousand. Bahamians call these out islands the family islands. They each have their own charm, but Eleuthera is what I'm interested in exploring.
Everybody is related in some way, shape, or form. It's either your brother, your sister, that's my cousin or my aunt, but somehow we're all related. That's why we're called the family island.
My first stop is in Harbor Island, just off the coast of Eleuthera, where I meet up with Brittany Persenti.
That's my aunt. Hey, Grandma. This is my friend.
I quickly get the sense of family ties here on Harbor Island. It's like being in the countryside, where everyone's linked in one way or another.
Tell me about Harbor Island, because it feels like it's a small place, but it feels kind of more urban, sophisticated.
Yes, we're only 3 miles long by ½ mile wide, so the island is pretty small. We have about 3,000 people that reside here on the island.
But tell me more about this feeling that I'm getting of it feeling like more than just some little island.
Yeah, because we have so much to offer, so much activities. You get an island feeling, but it's more a city-like. It's never a dull moment.
As I explore the island, I find a unique work of street art and a guitarist named Rocky Saunders.
Your love is more than a four-letter word. Before I met you, I used to run around doing my own thing. I didn't care about nothing at all. Living life in so much mystery and fantasy. And then you came.
Tell me about this license plate wall here.
Well, basically from what I've heard from my friend Ralph Sawyer, that's the one who really started it.
Okay.
He ran away once, twice, and brought some back.
Yeah.
And then tourists that come in that he meet, around, he's a real friendly guy.
Yeah.
Always joking and laughing, and they just send him license plates, their whole license plates. And you just keep putting all of them up, hanging them. And that's basically how it started.
Yeah.
Cuisine in the Bahamas is as one might expect, fresh seafood of every persuasion. Bahamian conch salad is always at the top of my list, but Eleuthera had other flavors to offer. I wanted something more traditional, something with a bit of that home-cooked flair. So Chef Montgomery Penn sliced and diced a truly traditional Bohemian meal for me.
So why is this a favorite way of preparing food in the Bahamas?
It's light, it's quick, and it's fast. And from my grandmother time is something that just got passed on from generation to generation. And because we're surrounded by 700 islands and keys, you can just go right to just about any dock and actually catch a grouper or a snapper and prepare this meal. We eat it just about any time of the day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Typically we serve it with Johnny cake, which is in the front of you.
So it's Johnny cake, you said, that comes
Johnny
with it.
cake.
Who's Johnny?
We're still trying to find it out.
Cause we were on fire, burning through the night. They could never find us cause we were burning high.
Debbie Burrows is a soulful musician with a sweet and sincere sound.
Maybe we flame on tonight. Look at me.
A lot of us, our backgrounds are in the outer islands. Like my family's from Eleuthera. So everybody comes from the outer islands to Nassau if you really want to get involved in industry, whether it's music or art, culinary art. It's kind of the space where all of that's happening.
Her music has a laid-back feel that totally jibes with my experience in Eleuthera so far.
What's the name of your song that you played for us?
It's called Wild Ambition.
Yeah.
And most of my music are love songs about life and loss and the ups and downs of love.
We were on fire, burning through the night. They could never.
Home is where I find a lot of time to write because nature is, as you guys have seen, is all around the beaches. So I'll just go out and there's a beach in the back of my house and just go and sit down and write.
We were on fire, we were burning flames, higher than the wild ambition of a madman wishing maybe we flame on tonight.
Harbor Island has a very special vibe. As I explore the island, strolling by colonial architecture painted in Caribbean colors, I'm struck by its uniqueness. Golf carts instead of cars, pink sand beaches, and everyone knows everyone.
Tell me how to get to Pip's store.
Yes, so there's...
I'd been told that when I arrived here, I had to find a vibrant and fabulous woman named Pip.
The wonderful thing about Harbor Island, it was really the first capital of the country. Queen Victoria at one point was going to make it the first port of entry, but it was a bit small for that, and then chose Nassau afterwards. But it was a lot of beautiful architecture, which you'll see, which was very, very run down and has now been picked up and sort of become Nantucket of the Caribbean.
Right.
Pip Simmons owns a clothing store on the island called Miss May's. She was born in Canada, but has lived on the island for the last 40 years.
I've always loved fabric, woven, hand-woven, follow all of it.
Right. I can't tell what's vintage and what's not in
Well,
the
that's
store.
the wonderful thing about fashion.
Yeah.
I know.
It's so lovely. Like,
Yeah.
the fabric feels vintage, but also some of, I don't know, is it a mix of vintage and
Everything's
new?
natural, number one.
Okay.
Polys don't live here.
Got it.
It's all about fabric. It is what it feels like next to your body.
Right.
Yeah.
Up until recently, Pip also owned the Ocean View Club, a Bohemian beachside hotel that has attracted celebrities, musicians, and fashion models since the late 1970s.
Basically, Elle magazine, the headquarters were almost in Harbor Island versus New York.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they live with me 3 months out of the year to shoot pictures. They shoot winter stories in the Bahamas.
Oh, got it.
And what happened was that was sort of also the pre-supermodel story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had Naomi Campbell, Rachel Hunter, Elle Macpherson, all of them sharing rooms. Nobody was a superstar. Like that whole supermodel thing did not exist.
It was just before
that.
Okay.
Yeah. We were all very young.
Yeah.
Very young, just pretending we knew what we were doing, really.
Her son's the current owner, so she drives me across the island to see it.
I remember this photo
Yeah.
so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was shot here.
That was shot here. All of it was
Oh,
shot
my
here.
goodness.
Yeah.
Stunning.
No, this is pre-supermodel life.
Yeah.
And Yeah.
This is what was going on
Yeah.
at the Ocean View.
Yeah. It was quite something.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was really pretty funny.
Yeah, and you had rock stars coming through as well.
Yeah, there were quite a few different famous people.
Yeah.
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 It was, and it was great because the island was so small and sleepy and nobody cared. You know, I remember once Robert De Niro was at the bar and he said to my ex-husband, so do you watch movies here? But no, not really. But no, I
Yeah.
see. So we had no idea
Yeah.
that it was. And I said, what was that guy's name? He said, Bobby. I said, Bobby who?
Well, it sounds like the scene back in the 80s.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
I would have loved to have been there.
Oh, no, it was Cass.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Richard Gere. I mean, I can't tell you the cast of characters. I could sit here all day long.
Decorated with old musical instruments, the hotel's ambiance recalls a different era, a time before smartphones and Wi-Fi.
And there was no television, there was no internet, so there was no telephones in the rooms. You know, lots of time there was no power, and everyone just entertained each other. It was the old-fashioned chat.
Yeah. Do you miss that?
I do. I do. And that's another reason why you know, I mean, everybody on their computers now, you'd go to the bar at 7 o'clock, if you would be joined for a drink before dinner. You know,
Cocktail
you
hour.
wouldn't know who you were sitting next to, and then, you know, I could tell you stories, really.
Yeah. Tell me a
Well,
story.
okay, Billy Joel was great. So this girl,
Billy Joel.
this girl from America goes, so what do you do? Oh, I played piano. That's great. Well, how do you play the piano? I just play the piano.
He's the piano man.
There's been some funny times.
Yeah. Were there any memorable nights that of music and filling the air at the Ocean View?
And lots of them. Lots of them.
Pick one.
Fabrizio Ferri and Billy Joel. That was a great night.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it like that. And then there's acoustic guitar players that have been hanging in the bush as well. You know, it was just...
And local Bahamians coming in too?
Local Bahamians coming in too. No, we've always, you know, and then the kids were little, we'd dance every night before dinner, and so everybody would, you know, music's very much part of this place.
I wonder why nobody don't like me. It's an effect only. I wonder why nobody don't like me. It's an effect only. I leave my whole house and go. Them children don't want to do no more. I talk inside the house, and when I talk to them, they say, I'm a little.
Night falls here on Harbor Island, and instead of sitting in my hotel room, I find myself sitting with new friends in a tiki bar, listening to some Bohemian tunes and soaking in the atmosphere. Pink sand beaches on the east side of Harbor Island, the turquoise waters, the blue holes. It's worth exploring the Bahamas just for the natural beauty. So I take a ferry to the mainland of Eleuthera to explore some of the island's unique landscapes. This part of Eleuthera feels more raw and wild. I get a true sense of nature's power at the glass window, located at what many call the most narrow place on Earth. On the east side, the roaring waves of the Atlantic Ocean crash against Eleuthera's cliffs. On the west, just a few feet away, the turquoise waters of the Caribbean Sea sway peacefully. And in between is a teeny bridge connecting the island. It's in this area that the Bahamas as we know it began. Puritans seeking religious freedom, known as the Eleutheran Adventurers, shipwrecked off the coast during a hurricane. The year was 1647, and those that survived took refuge in what's now called Preacher's Cave. They named the island Eleutheria, from the Greek word for freedom. For 100 years, religious services were held here in the cave. Soon after, the Eleutheran adventurers started the first modern Bohemian settlement on St. George's Cay, a little town called Spanish Wells. This small town is actually the largest exporter of lobster in the Bahamas. I make a quick stop in Spanish Wells, where Jock Morgan, whose ancestors helped start this town, drives me around the island. He takes me to the Spanish Wells Museum and tells me more about Preacher's Cave. And I learned that the Eleutheran adventurers were not the cave's first inhabitants.
This is artifacts that we found in Preacher's Cave. These are Lucayan tools. See some of them here?
Okay.
Jock explains to me that the Lucayan people were the Bahamas' original inhabitants.
And this is some of the pottery and palmetto they had.
Okay.
And that's what started to give us the idea of Preacher's Cave having Lucayan stuff.
I'm discovering that Eleuthera had a major influence on the rest of the Bahamas. And I'm not just talking about its history. Though the world has embraced many Bohemian artists and songs, from the Baha Men to Joseph Spence, Eleuthera has also given music one of its most popular folk songs.
So we came on this little Jambi, my grandpapa and me.
The origins for the song Sloop John B. can be traced back to the turn of the 20th century.
Stayed awake all night. We got into a fire. Yes, I feel so broke up. I want to go home. Oh, well, hoist up
the song and the boat itself were created here in Eleuthera. And the song has been covered by many artists, most famously by Johnny Cash and the Beach Boys. To learn more about the origins of the song, I link up with musician Cedric Bethel, otherwise known as Dr. Seabreeze.
Sloop John B was built right here in Eleuthera, in Governor Harbor, and right where the new clinic is right now. That used to be Captain John Bethel House.
Okay.
And he's the builder. He's the builder of the Sloop John B.
Okay.
And that's why they call it Sloop John B.
But this is a song that's been played all over the world.
It's been all over the world, and
yeah.
We did it. They made it up in Governor Harbor. They sang as the old rake and scrape and ring play songs, and they just came up with these words and put them together. It was, it was just something. Talent what the good Lord still in the people to do.
Right.
And they just picked it up from scratch and made it. Look at it today. It's all over international, like you say.
Yeah, so
all over the world.
Came from right here in Eleuthera.
That's right. Came from right here in Eleuthera. I want to go home. I want to go home. Yes, I feel so broke up. I don't want to go home. No.
About some other Bohemian musical traditions, I head to Rock Sound, where I meet Will Simmons, a teacher at Preston Albury High School. Will organizes the school's Junkanoo Club and has invited me to a practice where the club is preparing for the Junior Junkanoo competition.
We have Junior Junkanoo, which happens at a national level every December. Schools from around the country compete for the winning title. And every island also has their own Junior Junkanoo parade too.
Junkanoo is a street parade that includes live music, handmade costumes, and is celebrated every year throughout the islands in the Bahamas.
Junkanoo is a very important part of our identity as Bahamians, and it's something that goes way back to the time of slavery, and it was an expression of freedom that has just come to really embody a spirit here in the Bahamas. So what we try to do is let students, experience that And also, through that experience, they develop a lot of different educational skills like problem solving, music, obviously art, craft, designing, construction of costumes out of cardboard. It's a very, very dynamic art form.
Yeah.
And one of the most dynamic, I think, out there, because what other art form has dance, music, theater, visual art, all incorporated into one procession?
Well, this is the Preston Albury Junkanoo Shack. Got it.
Yep.
Can you show me what's inside?
Let's do it.
Inside one of the classrooms, more students are designing and building the costumes.
And we have students who are working on pasting, tricking, and
What's
just
tricking?
finishing off the costume. Tricking is what you do after you have all the crepe paper laid out. It looks a bit raw. I'll show you. All right. So what you're gonna do to a costume like this? with
Okay.
The tricking is when you put the gold jewels and rhinestones around it.
Okay, so the bling.
The bling, exactly.
Okay.
The bling.
These costumes are an important part of the Junkanoo tradition.
Basically, being a Bahamian, you are surrounded by Junkanoo every year. Because you love Junkanoo in December and then you love it on New Year's. So basically, you will be there and you will just be having fun, listening to music with your friends, family.
This Junkanoo parade, it pulls the community together because you have all sorts of different people working as one. And when we go down to Nassau, we represent Eleuthera. And then with all the groups together in Nassau, that's the whole Bahamas coming together in a tradition that is vibrant and that is alive and that at its very center is about community.
Junkanoo takes place every Boxing Day and New Year's in the Bahamas. The Nassau Junkanoo Festival is the largest of all the islands and the most competitive. But the Out Islands celebrate Junkanoo at the same time, and I was curious about how Junkanoo differed in Harbor Island. So I head over to the Zulu Dancers Junkanoo Shack. Inside, I find several guys hard at work making last-minute touches to this year's Junkanoo costumes. The inside is filled with materials needed for designing a Junkanoo costume: cardboard, crepe paper, and glue. This is Raphael Sanders, one of the costume designers and dancers.
So when are you working on these costumes?
Tonight, I'll be here from 5 until about 4 o'clock in the morning.
4 in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay. And which days of the week are you coming down here?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day. I'm a Junkanoo junkie.
You're a Junkanoo junkie? Yeah,
junkie.
sounds like it.
All of a sudden, the skies open up. A late afternoon shower comes through, and Raphael and the other Zulu members scramble to cover some of the costumes. With the costumes safely covered, Raphael urges me to try on one of the finished costumes.
I can't even see anything. Do I look like an Egyptian goddess? I can't tell.
Next, Raphael wants me to test the costume by dancing.
You can.
That's a parade route. Once
Okay.
you get on that route, you just...
So you don't do choreography, you just do free.
I just free dance.
Okay, but you're
I
in one
have
of
a
the
big-
huge
yeah, I got one of the
costumes,
big
so you
costumes.
can't free dance too much.
Nah, so I just, all I do is basically, I've got the costume on and I just...
You just go like this.
Yeah, it's about the spin. It's about the spin. Yeah.
All right, okay.
So long as you hear that the bass drum kick in, you're gonna feel it. So
What's that noise? Is that the bass drum kicking in?
The rain peters out, and the Zulu musicians prepare for practice by heating up their goatskin drums. I'm invited to participate in practice and line up with some of the dancers.
I'm getting ready to do Junkanoo just this evening, but these folks are getting ready to do it in a month or so.
As we make our way through the streets, tourists and locals alike come out to watch. As I dance through Harbor Island, I think about my last few days. It's becoming clear that the soul of the Bahamas is out here. This is where the seeds of the culture are nourished. The Family Islands are the spirit in the way that Nassau is the beating heart. But combine them together, and they form a passionate and vibrant nation.